So I was watching the news today, and as I watched the CBC, they were covering the news. And they did the whole Capitol Hill thing, spent most of the time on there. But the other story they covered, and rightfully so, was the downing of Ukrainian flight 752, with many Canadians on board. And the thing the CBC was saying is many Iranians are still looking for answers. They're looking for answers. Here are your answers. I'm going to give you the answer. All right? And here's my message to the family, if you just want the answer. I wrote the story last year. We did the video. All it took to prove that the flight was downed intentionally was talking to one military expert who knew how the weapon system worked that took down the plane. Okay. So to recap, we had a situation where, Qasem Soleimani had just been taken out in Iraq after the Iranian militias had been attacking the U.S. embassy. The Iranians had then done a cosmetic bombing of a U.S.-Iraqi base. And then after they bombed the Iraqi base, they shot down an airliner over Tehran with 2 missiles. Now, here's how you can prove that it was downed intentionally. The missile system used to down the plane was an SA-15 or a Torby-1, known as a Gauntlet system. This is not a handheld shoulder missile like the Stinger you have in Call of Duty. So it's not like one person can just be like, oh no, high alert, just human error, fire it. This system does not really have human error. The way it works is there's 2 different types of radar. So you would have a radar sensing a flight coming overhead, right? A basic radar would get it, and then if you think it's a suspicious, you have a targeting acquisition radar, which is more, it's better depth and whatever, more precise, right? And then once you get into a firing thing, then, in the missile battery command, sirens would start blaring, right? Everyone, missile command, like a missile about to launch, and then someone needs to turn a switch. So what I'm saying is, the SA-15 is a systems weapon. It is not a handheld weapon, which means there would be a missile battery command. There'd be many people in the room. It's not just one person. It's a whole unit, right? So in order to believe it was downed by accident, you have to believe a lot of things that are highly, highly improbable. The fact is, it was over Tehran, the nation's capital. So if the IRGC, had sort of set the system to automatic, okay, if they set the system to automatic, an air defense system to automatic, over the nation's capital and then didn't ground flights, that's pretty much the same thing as downing it intentionally, because you're basically going to shoot down the next airplane, right? So that is at best extreme negligence and incompetence leading to death. That's the best case scenario, right? And the fact that they shot 2 missiles. So after it went out, the plane was hit first, right? Then 30 seconds later, they fired another missile at it. We have this on video. Okay, so it was downed intentionally. There is a 99.9999999999999% chance that is true. So there's your answer, right? Just talk to anyone who has any experience in these types of weapon systems, and they will tell you that yes, this was not human error. That's not how it works. Now the Iranians have arrested 6 people who were involved, and you obviously know those are just 6 people they wanted to arrest because they're culling internally, because that's how they work. And if you want to prevent this from happening again, we have to stand strong, right? You cannot have Justin Trudeau, whose brother Sacha Trudeau used to be a propagandist for the Islamic Republic of Iran. You can't do that. You need to show that there's consequences here. So if you want, justice, and if you want to prevent it from happening again, because, you might say, oh, who are you? Like, I have friends in the UA community, like the monarchists there. Every couple of years, someone ends up dead in a river. My friend Mehdi Amin was murdered just this year. So I get it, okay? The Iranian regime has learned that they can murder Canadians under Justin Trudeau. They did that to Kayed Sefassamani. If you want to stop them, if you want there to be any sort of repercussions, you need to lobby the government to declare the IRGC, all of it, a terrorist organization. That way, because they control about 50% of the economy, there actually would be consequences. And they would learn that if they kill Canadians, there is consequences. Right now, the Islamic Republic knows, as long as Justin Trudeau is Prime Minister, there is 0 consequences for killing Canadians. So what's to stop them? And the answer really is nothing. So hopefully, I'm not sure if it feels better, but there are your answers. It was downed intentionally. Just look at a Gauntlet system. A Torby-1 is the Russian name for it. An SA-15. Just look up how that system works. Talk to one military expert like I did, and you'll have your answers. It was done intentionally. Why? Maybe they wanted to shift blame onto the Americans. That seems likely because the Iranian Canadian Congress, the ICC, immediately blamed America for Iran shooting down the plane. Trudeau kind of jumped on the thing. That was sort of their hope, is to sort of pretend these people were murdered by Trump, and it worked because they have sycophants in the Western media. Just cause general chaos because that's what they do. Will that make you feel better? I don't know. But, sorry for your loss, and if you want to stop it from happening again, lobby the government to declare the IRGC a terrorist organization.